Hello guys and welcome back to MDTV episode number 3. Guys, today I have a guest that has literally been neglecting me for over a year, but he's finally here today and he goes by the name of Shocka Artist. He's a rapper and a mental health advocate. So Shocka, please explain to them what you've done to me for the past year.
That's why I'm smiling, that's why I'm grinning in my teeth, because like this was meant to happen ages ago, but I kept cancelling. You just kept hitting me up on days that like, I don't know for what reason, but it just fell in. Like one of the days was like after my birthday, like come on.
Yeah. No, do you know what it is? I would hit Shocka up, and what I love about Shocka, he would never really say no. He'll be like, yeah, cool, okay, I got it. Then like when I used to see like the night before Shocka typing or something, I just braced myself. I messaged my videographer, yeah, it's cancelled. Then he just be like, nah man, like, come on, like, I actually got you. But honestly, he's actually here today, guys, and I'm so happy because me and Shocka, the way we actually met, obviously there's a project coming out, so make sure you guys are tuning in. I have a documentary coming out soon, and I needed people to speak about mental health.
Yep.
And I was just searching, I was thinking, who can I actually speak to? And I don't know, I just came across you and like your story, your journey, I knew that I wanted to speak to you specifically because it was a very insightful, it was very touching, and I wanted to know more about it. That's why you're here today. But before we even get into the whole dynamics of everything that went on, I want you to obviously let the people know like who you were probably around 10 years ago, because obviously 10 years ago, life for you was totally different.
Completely different.
Like you were part of a group that probably people my age may not know too tough, but obviously you can explain to them.
So 10 years ago, I was in a group called Marvel. It was a grime group. There was 3 of us. There was Double S, there was Vertex, and there was myself. And we was together for like 5 years. We did some incredible things. We toured with Chipmunk, we toured with Skepta, we toured with Diversity, the group that won Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah, I remember that.
They brought us on tour. We met Drake. We was in studio with Drake like early. This is when like Drake was just coming up. But I always kick myself about that because he came to the studio with Rihanna. So we was focused on Rihanna. So when we came into, because it was in Metropolis, there's a studio called Metropolis in Chiswick, and like all the celebrities from America come there. So whenever we come to the reception, we'll always ask, who's here today? And they said, oh, Rihanna's here with this this guy that she's with called Drake. So they
I'm guessing he wasn't popping.
So they partied, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we went outside to do something, and we come back, and Drake was sitting on the stairs having a cigarette with his engineer 40. And I saw him and I was like, Drake, and he was like, yeah, what up, man? I was like, oh, what's going on?
It was an accent for me.
I was like, what's going on? He was like, yeah, I'm here with Rihanna, just writing some stuff. And then he was like how he went to the Ralph Lauren store and people knew who he was. And like, he was gaslighting. He was like, I can't believe people know who I am here. And like, I'm hearing Drake say that, do you know what I mean? Being humbled by it. And then, so yeah, we met with Drake early, we met with Rihanna as well, Tyler the Creator, Amber Rose, so many names. We won mixtapes awards. We did so many incredible things. And then...
so life then was high for you?
That was the high. That was the highest of the high.
Obviously you had to do a little research, and obviously when one of your interviews you talk about how you never really experienced low, you never really knew what life being low was, because you were always the trajectory of, you know.
Even from young, like I've always been a winner. Hence why, like, when we go further into the story, hence why I managed to turn it around and bounce back how I bounce back now. Because I've always had a winning mentality. I just think it's in my blood. Like, my dad was a boxer.
Okay, cool.
So, like, fighting is, like, literally in my
blood.
DNA. Do you know what I mean? So I've always been a winner. So from a kid, always popular at school. Do you know what I mean? Always the cool kid. So, but where that kind of, can I swear on this?
Yeah.
Where that kind of,
maybe
because I swear a lot.
Okay, just turn it down maybe.
Where that kind of fucks things up, is because I never had the balance of like adversity. And I think it's cool to have that. Like I've learned now, so when I have my kids, I'm not gonna like shield them away from the world. Okay, cool. I'm gonna make sure like they have a healthy balance and I don't like hide them too much. And my mum did that with me. I'm an only child. Like my mum lost 2 kids before me. So I see why she did that with me, because probably just the excitement of having a child. She thinks I really want to protect this child. So like she really shielded me away from a lot of things. I never really tasted like hard work and down times, and everything was just going up. And then, things just got better and better and better in my life. And then I joined the group, and then the Marvel thing just skyrocketed better and better and better. And then, we will go there.
We will go there. So, okay, cool. How old are you during this time? Obviously, early 20s?
I'm like 19.
Ooh, 19. So you're relatively young and you're enjoying this high life. You're touring. Everything is going well for you. You're part of it, like a great group. And you're making songs people like. So with you, everything is just like like straight line for you. So obviously, you get signed now. Right? By, is it Risky Roads?
Risky Roads 2010.
So you get signed in 2010. So when you got signed, how did that feel for you? And what did that mean to you at the time that you got signed?
Do you know what? I didn't really appreciate it as much because everyone around us was already signed.
Oh, okay.
So we was like the last to get signed. Like Chipmunk was already signed. Wretch was already signed. Tiny was already signed. So we just felt like this is something that we're meant to do. Do you know what I mean? So we didn't appreciate it. So we got our deal, and then we brought out a single called We Know.
Yeah.
And that didn't do that good.
Okay.
And then
so just something just to laugh at because you overcame it now. So you released that single.
Yeah.
It doesn't do as good, and unfortunately, you get dropped by your label.
We got dropped by the label, yeah.
And obviously, remember, you're always used to the high life. So
that was my first whoa,
So you get, obviously, I know how you feel. You felt upset, but obviously with you, it was an upset that really continued. And obviously, we'll get into that. So when you heard, obviously, I don't know how you were told you got dropped by a label, but how was that for you?
It was a meeting. We got a meeting telling all of us to come in. And then when we came in, on the table was like a paper that had everything that we spent. So like everything that we spent, we forgot that like we're on a label and they're paying for it. We have to pay that money back. We was taking Addison Lees everywhere, was using up stylists to get clothes, you know what I mean? Like forgetting all of this. And then when they called us in for that meeting, they had this paper in front of us and it was like, this is the money you spent, this is the money we want back. We're not gonna continue with the next song. I think they spent a lot of money for the first song that they did with us, the We Know song, and they got cold feet about it. Because there was a new label, there wasn't an established label, there wasn't like a Sony or an Atlantic or Universal that's been through this before and they know how to bounce back. They was like new. So as soon as they lost their money and it didn't go well, they got scared and they panicked and they said they didn't want to do it anymore. And then that's how the label fell apart.
So the label falls apart now, and obviously you've spoken about, was it as soon as the label fell apart, things fell apart for you, would you say?
It was gradual.
Or was it gradual? Because obviously you talk about how you lost your girlfriend at the time, and what else do you lose?
Losing my girlfriend was after.
Oh, after.
That came after as well. So everything just went gradual. So what happened after we got dropped? We became stagnant for like a year.
Okay.
So we went from like being busy touring, me hardly seeing my mum, never being in the area, always out, to me being at home every single day doing nothing, just idle time. And obviously I got a Nigerian mum, and you know what like African mums are like. My mum used to just come into my room and just give me that look like,
if you're not doing anything with your life, then...
Do you know what I mean? And that adds more pressure onto it. Then you've got everyone in the ends that knows about your situation. And
so did you feel a bit humiliated?
I felt embarrassed. I felt humiliated. I felt all of that. And I think what made it worse was how young I was. You know, when you're young, you're watching everything. I didn't have the thick skin I have now, where I can literally just be tunnel vision and just block the whole world out. At that time, your whole world revolves around the world. Do you know what I mean? Like everything you do is like, oh, how's this person looking at me? Or what's everyone talking about? Oh, now, whenever I mention music, I've got to mention that I got dropped from my label. Do you know what I mean? That's part of my story now. And that was a story that I couldn't accept and I never embraced at that time. So I just stayed at home. I'm an introverted person anyway, but like, there's a difference between how I'm an introverted person then to how I am now. So me being introverted now, I'll be at home, but I'm doing something. I'm on my phone, I'm listening to music. At that time, I knew something was wrong when my next door neighbor came to the house to check on me just to see how I'm doing. And like I was in the darkness. And like me looking back on that now, at that period I thought it was normal because I was spending most of my time in the darkness. I used to just be in the dark, just overthinking. I'd just be in my bed just overthinking like, how the fuck am I gonna get out of the situation and get back on my feet? But I never knew that was like I just thought it was the norm until my next door neighbor came to my house and came in my room and put the light and said, yo, like, what are you doing? And that's when I realized at that point that...
Did you feel as though because you're a man or a boy, you couldn't speak about how you felt?
100%. 100 million%.
And where do you think that stemmed from? Because I feel like, obviously we're both African, from African household, obviously you're taught, to be the man, be the strong one, be the leader. So it's just like, you're kind of conditioned to feel like if that means if I'm ever sad, I can't really show it because I'm supposed to be this leader, and a leader is not vulnerable. A leader knows what to do. So who did you turn to for support?
I didn't turn to anyone. I didn't turn to anyone. And going back to your question of did I feel like I couldn't speak? I did feel like I couldn't speak, and that stems from the environment. Because you learn from your friend, you learn from home. Your parents are your first teachers, and then your environment programs you as well. So from home, my mum was telling me not to speak. Me and my mum have never sat down and had like a conversation like this, like what we're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've always had like surface level conversations, like how are you doing? How's your day? Have you eaten? Do you know what I mean? But whenever it got to like just edging below the surface, it always was like, whoa. So I kind of knew from then that I couldn't speak about certain things.
Do you know, I feel like not all, before people come for me, but some African parents find it very hard to have that mental health conversation with their kids. And I feel like it stems from the fact that, especially if you're born here, you moved here, they'll give you the talk like, look, you're born here, you have all these opportunities, why can you be sad, be grateful, your cousins in Africa are suffering. And I'm not dismissing that, but just because I have all of this doesn't mean I can't feel sad or doesn't mean I can go through it, because obviously you had all of that then. One change in your life and look what happened to you.
It's true.
So I feel like, would you say that your mum was understanding, or that was she an African mum that was actually understanding and wanted to understand your emotions, or she was a bit like standoffish? She didn't really.
She did. She tried her best. When I think back on it now, like she really tried her best for someone that doesn't have the information to deal with a man that's going through something like that. She tried her best, but that was after though, when we get to where we're going to go to. But when I was going through the motion of everything, she just left me to it. That just shows the relationship that we had. Like in my room, I remember I had writing on my walls. It got to a point where like I started like expressing myself on my walls. I just started writing on the walls of my house. And like, if I was a parent and I came into my child's room and there's like writing on the walls, I'm going to say something.
Of course.
But my mom never said anything. Like she used to just come in and just be like, do you know what I mean? Like, okay, your food's downstairs or whatever, and she never said anything. So that just shows like where we was at relationship wise. Do you know what I mean? So I was really like left to it. And I couldn't talk to anyone. I felt like I couldn't speak to anyone. I felt like I couldn't open up to anyone because I still had that stigma lingering around of like, it's not cool to speak.
Because you're a boy? Or
because I'm a man. It's not cool to speak because I'm a man. And like, I never had that example. As I said, I'm an only child. So maybe if I had like an older brother, he could have said to me like, oh, what you're going through is depression or it's anxiety or I've been through this. Do you know what I mean? I've had no examples. That's why what I'm doing now is so important, because I want to be the example for someone else that was in the place that I was in. Because I never had that. So I know how important that is to have that. Like, you don't have to pay the consequence for things. Sometimes someone can show you. It's a mentor is important. It's basically what I'm trying to say in short sentence. A mentor is very important.
Representation as well for people.
Representation is important because it just cuts out all the unnecessary work that you don't have to do, because someone's been there before you. And our parents are meant to be our first mentors. But this is where it gets tricky. My mum was born and raised in Nigeria. So she's coming to a foreign land and raising basically a foreign child.
So I don't really blame them.
That's why I said I forgive my mum, forgive my dad totally, completely. I've got nothing against them at all, because I totally understand it, me being older and maturing. At that time, it didn't make sense to me. I used to have a chip on my shoulder about why my mum never told me about certain stuff, but she couldn't, because she didn't even know. They say if you know better, you do better. She didn't even know in the first place to even tell me. So I've totally forgiven them and let that go.
I feel like obviously Africa and here is not the same. Like there's so many things that can affect your social media here, probably lack of money, not being where you are. When it's like back in Africa, it's just more getting food on the plate, not in a rude way, but it's like with them, survival is more important. We kind of want more for ourselves. So when we see that we're not achieving that, it can put you in the bad mental space.
It's true.
So obviously with you, you obviously talk about you got dropped by a label, but then after that, things sadly got worse, you
Mm-hmm.
ended up being sectioned. And how many times were you sectioned and during what year?
3 times.
So you're sectioned 3 times.
I
So
got
people that
sectioned.
don't know what section is,
If you don't know what a section is, it's like when your mental health is in the worst place possible, you get put into a hospital, a mental health hospital with other patients. So I got sectioned the first time in end of 2011, going into 2012. I got put into hospital. I had a breakdown. I got put into hospital. First time was like for 5 days, and then I relapsed. And I got a year later, I got put into hospital again for 28 days. And then I was cool for like 2-3 years, and then I ended up going back into hospital again in 2016 for another 20 days. So that was 3 times, and they diagnosed me with schizophrenia. And then I remember, I always say this story, I remember before you get discharged, you have to sit down with like a doctor. And I remember the doctor saying to me, for your age, you've been sectioned a lot of times, you can't come back here. And I don't know what it is about those words, but it just clicked in my head. As soon as he said it, like, he said it like, yeah, how old are you? He said, how old am I? And I told him my age, and he goes, how many times have you been here? I said, like, this is my 3rd time. He said, you need to, do you know what I mean? He said it in a way like, you need to figure something out. And those words just clicked in my head. And then when I came out from hospital, I decided to do extra work, because I always say this to people, because I get so much messages all the time from people that's been sectioned, and they always tell me, what did you do? Because I'm not getting enough help. And I'm saying, you can't rely just solely on the help of the NHS. It's cool what they do. Like, I was getting people that came to my house to come and talk to me for like, I don't know, 2-3 days a week, and I'll come in. It was like therapy basically, but that wasn't enough for me. So like, I just started researching other people. This is where representation is
Wait,
so
you know the
important.
people that are giving you therapy, did they look like you? What colour were they?
They were white.
Yeah, so it doesn't work.
And that's why I say representation is so important, because I started like, do you know what? But for me, I didn't discriminate though.
Okay.
When I started looking for people to inspire me to get out of my situation, it didn't matter if there was white or black.
However, I feel like a white man wouldn't understand a black man's struggle.
It's true. That's true.
To an extent.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So I started researching people that's been sectioned before and made it out and turned their life around, just to know it's possible in my mind first, you know what I mean? And then I started attracting things to me to help me. I feel like as soon as you just make a decision on something, life just moves out the way for you. Like, Definitely. It's real, it's facts. So as soon as I made that decision of what I wanted to do, I said, all right, cool, this is what I want to do. I want to turn the situation around, and I want to use my story to inspire people later on in the future. And I made that decision, and everything just started falling in place. Like, I was on my WhatsApp one day, and I thought I got this girl on my WhatsApp, and she had this book from a woman called Louise Hay. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but I vowed that I'm going to mention her name in every interview I do. She's passed on now.
Big up Louise Hay.
Big up Louise Hay.
R.I.P. to Louise Hay.
I'm continuing your legacy. So like, she's passed away now, and this girl had this book from a woman called Louise Hay called You Can Heal Your Life. And I saw it, and I messaged her and I said, is that a good book? She said, yeah. And I ordered it, and I read it, and like,
I need to order that book tonight.
and the book was all about like self-love. And like,
yeah, we're gonna get to your self-love.
The book was all about like self-love and going into your mind and really clearing your mind up. Like, she compared our minds to like a messy bedroom, and she was saying that when you clean up your bedroom and you see like old pictures from the past, she was like, you don't get mad at the pictures, you cringe a little bit, you laugh at it, and then you put it to the side and continue clearing up the room. And she was like, that's how we should treat our minds. She was like, the reason why people don't go into their minds and want to go into the deepest, darkest place and your most vulnerable spots and your insecurities is because you're scared to face it. But if you treat it as something that's like an old picture or an old memory, you can look at it again and be like, I remember that, and then put it to the side and continue tidying it. And she just gave me beautiful perspectives to look at my mind. And I started doing that. Like, so all the time that I had to spend by myself, I started using it wisely. I don't think there's nothing wrong with being alone, but I think it's how you spend the time when you're alone. I started using that time wisely. I started using that time to ask myself questions. I started having an interview with my thoughts. Instead of having an argument with my thoughts, I started sitting there and asking myself, why do I think this about myself? Where did that come from? Why don't I think I'm worthy of this? Where did that come from? And I started getting to the root cause, like to the bottom of it. Because I feel like any question you ask yourself, your mind will give you the answer. You do know that. Like if you go into the mirror now and say to yourself, I'm beautiful, your mind will say, your mind will tell you what you really think. Do you know what I mean? Like if you go into the mirror and say, I think I'm sexy today, your subconscious will be like, no, you're not. And then instead of getting angry at that thought, you ask yourself, where did that come from? Why did my mind just tell me that? Who put that there? And then you start dealing with it. And that's what I started doing. I started asking myself questions and different stuff started popping up. And I started being like, oh my God, this is all the stuff that's been buried in my subconscious that's holding me back, that I haven't cleaned up. Imagine how much stuff you've got from like young, or like stuff that people said to you that's still playing in the background in your mind that you haven't dealt with yet. Do you know what I mean? You haven't healed from, and I really took time to like go into my mind and heal, and that book helped me heal. What I was saying is that like I feel like your subconscious mind will tell you what you really think about yourself. Do you know what I mean? And you shouldn't be afraid of that. It's your mind, it's you. Do you know what I mean? Why are you scared of you? So be happy to hear what you really think so you can deal with it. And she used to, and the thing I loved about the book is that there's exercises in the book. And I love books like that do like practical things, actionable things that you can do. So she used to say, go into a mirror and say to yourself, say something nice about yourself today and see what comes up. And I used to do it. I used to go into the mirror and be like, yo, you're a king. And then my subconscious would be like, no, you're not, bro. You've got £20 in your account. And I'd be like, okay, Kenny. So that's what's holding you back. Like you think your bank account has got something to do with your identity. Where did you get that from? And then I go further and I realize, I got that from my friends. All my friends say you're not a G if you don't. No, sorry, not my friends. Society. Society says you're not a G if you haven't got money in your account, or if you haven't got this kind of car. Then I go further and further. Do you know what I mean? And it's just take that time with yourself and do that. Just really get to know yourself. That there's a quote that says, if you know yourself, you know the universe and you know God. And it's facts. As soon as you get to know yourself, everything becomes clear. And I understand why people don't get a chance to know themselves, because life is so busy. You're constantly working. You're constantly on your phone. You're constantly paying attention. So you don't get a chance to really sit with yourself. I had nothing to do. So I really got that time to like sit with myself and study myself and learn, and it's the best thing that you can ever do.
Definitely. I feel like we need to take time to heal from past things that's happened to us, because as soon as you, not heal, but as soon as you take time to heal, you start to learn more about yourself. And obviously as being a man, I feel like one of the strongest things that you've done that people don't understand is when you allow yourself to be vulnerable. Like you had to allow yourself to be vulnerable with your emotions and feelings in order to get to where you are today. Like having a book, or some boys even don't read. They don't feel like, not reading is more, but why am I going to read for? But you allowed yourself to read, you allowed yourself to look at videos or sermons or whatever, just to help yourself, to give you some insight. And due to that, it's allowed you to get where you are today.
That's because I had a wake up call though. Like I think the best thing is a wake up call, because you didn't die.
I'm still waiting for mine.
But wake up calls come in different forms. You know what I mean? Mine was the doctor telling me like, you can't come back here.
I think God needs to slap me.
Some people don't. Some people won't just pick up a book. Do you know what I mean? I didn't. It took me ages before I started reading. You know what I mean? My environment, it's not cool for me to go to the mandem and be like, hey, what are you reading, guys? Like that's not our conversation. We're talking about girls. We're talking about the latest Dior runners. You know what I mean? We're talking about all of that stuff. But it took a wake up call for me to be like, oh, I need to sort this out. And not everyone, I'm blessed I had that. Not everyone has a wake up call. There's people that's going to go through this whole life asleep. Do you know what I mean? Like not really.
Because they don't want to get into touch with their emotions.
Exactly. I had a wake up call, so I had a reason to do it. So I was actually looking for that book. Like I said, I attracted the book to me. I was looking for it. So I was prepared to receive it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I was meant to go on her WhatsApp story for a reason. Like, why am I even on WhatsApp story? Most people, WhatsApp story is dead. We've got Insta story. I was looking around for things and I found it. So, I was ready to receive it.
I wanted to ask something, because obviously research shows that when black men come out to say like their mental health problems don't really treated right, How was your, obviously before we get into like all the great things you did after all of that,
Mm-hmm.
how was your experience? Do you feel like you were treated well as a black man? Because apparently like when black men come out with saying they're going through mental health problems, they're seen more as the aggressor
Mm-hmm.
rather than the victim. So how was your treatment? Obviously you've been sectioned obviously 3 times. So.
Do you know what? My experience was alright, you know, but I think I was just blessed, man. I feel like I was just guided through it, that whole thing. Like, that's the only way I can put it. I feel like I was proper guided. Like, I truly believe that me as an only child, I feel like there's a higher power that's my older brother, if that makes sense, that's like guiding me through. So like, because I've spoken to so many other people that's been sectioned as well, and they've had horrible experiences, like terrible experiences, that people being racist to them and people treating them in a certain way. And my experience was like, I was proper guided. Like, I had a girl that was on my ward and she probably looked after me. And when I did like my headline show in February, I brought her to the show and I like dedicated like 2 minutes to like big her up. Do you know what I mean? So I was blessed. I was lucky to have that. I had her on my ward and she was like so nice to me. She used to come call me, ask me if I've eaten. She used to just check in with me, bust jokes with me. You know what I mean, I was just guided through. So I feel like my situation's been, it's a rare situation. I've heard a lot of people saying that their time in hospital wasn't
the best.
Wasn't the best.
So obviously you left hospital, was it 2016? 2016, and then obviously Grenfell happened in 2017. And I'm talking about Grenfell because I feel like that's when you made a very like heartfelt song, and that took over social media. Like a lot of people loved it and stuff like that. Why was that like so important for you to speak on like the whole Grenfell situation? Because you made a whole tribute to it and it's really nice and warming to watch.
When I was in hospital, I made a promise that I'm going to use my voice to talk about like things that really go on in reality, in life. Because when I was in Marvel, the grand group, we used to talk about like shallow things like girls and clothes, and that's all we spoke about. It was a happy group though.
Yeah.
It makes sense. We was young, we was living our dreams, but obviously I started experiencing real life things that I'm sectioned now. This is like serious. You know what I mean? I'm in a mental health hospital. But while I was in there with different races though. I was in there. There was a Jewish kid in there with the hat and his uniform, and I was like, yo, like, you're in here with me. Despite your religion or whatever you believe or your upbringing, you've got the same mental health issues that I've got. We're all in this together. There was Africans in there, there was Turkish people in there, there was like young kids in there, there was adults in there. And then it made me realize, oh, I see what God's trying to do here. You've put me in a situation where I can tell a story that's going to relate to like everyone, which is rare. You know, usually you've got a story that like some people, this demographic likes it, that demographic can't relate. But I've been put in a situation where no, everyone is walking around with a head on their shoulders, unless you're an alien. I don't know if their head's somewhere else. But if you're a human and your head's on your shoulders, you know what mental health issue is. You've got a mind. So I can literally talk to everybody. And then from that point, I decided I want to use my music to like connect with people and resonate. So the Grenfell thing happened, and like something was like tugging at me saying, speak about this, to say your opinion. So I got my phone, I turned it round. No, I wrote a lyric, I wrote my verse for what I wanted to say, and I got my phone, I turned it round, I performed it, and I put my phone down, and that was it. When I came back to my phone was going crazy. That was like one of my first, because before on my Instagram, I used to just post quotes. You know, like everyone, we all post quotes. We see a quote from somewhere and post it. So that's all I used to do. But this was like my first video, like rapping again. And then I posted it and everyone just went crazy for it. And then I was happy, but then the next day when I woke up in the morning, Gigs took it and posted it and added me saying, Shocka, this is sick. And then after Gigs posted it,
gone.
It was crazy from there. And then Semtex messaged me, and the Shade Room put it up, and then this one put it up, and then that one, and then it just went viral. And then I knew that was a sign. I knew straight away, like, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm meant to be using my voice to like, my first video went viral. Some people's like 50th video or like 100th video. This is my first video went viral. And I believe in signs. I'm not ignorant. Like, I'm wide awake in this reality. So I know when like something's being shown to me. So I knew straight away from that first video went viral. I haven't stopped ever since. I've been on that same mission.
And it just shows like something that affected you so long ago has kind of become your calling, and you're using it at your advantage. And even after that, one of like the major things I really wanted to talk about was your song Self Love, because I feel like that song was you putting everything on your mind into words, into a song. And you really, obviously, if you watch the music video, you see you incorporated people of different races, sizes, colors, just everyone really. What did that really mean to you? Because that, I feel like that's you putting just everything on the table and just being as transparent as you can be.
Self Love was the celebration song.
Okay.
That was like, if I could have invited the whole world into a party of me celebrating being back on my feet again, that was the song. That was the way I invited you and everyone into the Self Love party. And like, the way that song happened was just, this is what I mean. When I say something, I don't know, man. Something's just guiding me on this path. I got a call on private number saying, yo, Shocks, what's going on? I don't really answer private number, but I answered it. I was like, yo, Shocks, what's going on? I said, yo, what's going on, bro? He said, I got your number from somewhere. I met you at an event and I got your number. I've got a producer that I want to hook you up with. Please, I'm not bullshitting you. I know you must get this all the time, but just hear me out. Just see if you like him and you can work with him. I said, you know what? I told you I'm wide awake in this reality, so I knew the signs. So I said, you know what? Hook me up with him, we'll work. He hooked me up with the producer. The producer sent me Self Love. And I had the instrumental on repeat for ages. This is before I had words. Just listening to the beat. I'm like, this beat is so wavy. Bro.
And it's a very happy.
It's so happy. It made me feel so, this is just the instrumental, you know? And I'm listening to the instrumental. I'm like, this is so beautiful, but what can I say on this? How can I bring me to it? And I was reading the book, the Louise book, and I said, oh my God, if I can take what she's saying in the book and turn it into lyrics and put it on the song, that way I wouldn't have to like tell everyone about the book in the interviews like what I'm doing now. They're gonna have the song, and I feel like songs travel way faster than interviews. Not everyone's gonna watch my interviews, but they'll hear my song on radio, they'll stream it. Do you know what I mean? So I took what it was saying in the book and I took it into lyrics, and I made the lyrics. You give everybody else love, but you never give yourself love. Don't forget about your self-love. Self-love. And it just came to me and I knew. I was like, that's it. And I went studio. I didn't take too long. I probably went studio like 2 days later, recorded it, and then a director messaged me and said, yo, Shocks, I've been loving your freestyles you're doing. Have you got any music? I want to shoot a video for you. So I went and sat down with him in the same place where I met you. I sat down with him and he was like, play me 5 of your songs and I'll pick which one that I like, which one resonates with me that I want to shoot a video for. So I played him like 5 of them. He's like, the Self-Love one. I said, what's the idea? That's why I can't take credit for the idea for the video, because he came up with it. Big up Eric Myers. He was like, I want to shoot the Self-Love one. I was like, so what idea are you thinking? He said, you should get everyone that feels like they're not accepted in society into the video. So get like, I don't know, everyone that's got disabilities and looks different. It's people that you'll deem looks different. Like you'll see and be like, something might be wrong with them. So I went on Instagram, I said, if you feel like you look a bit different in society, DM me. And I just got bare DMs. But then I got someone said you should get in touch with this girl, and there was, you know how in the video there's a dwarf girl in the video.
Yeah, I saw her in the video.
As soon as I saw her face and I saw the dwarf girl, I was like, you are perfect. And the fact that she was so confident and she was making videos, I said, you are perfect. I DM'd her, she was on it, she came to the video, we did it. But at the end of the video, she was dancing she said, can I do a dance to your song and post on my Instagram? Because that's what I do. I do like little dances to songs. And I posted on Instagram. So I said, yeah, do your thing. She did it. I never thought nothing of it, you know. She did it. She posted it on her Instagram. Then Michael Blackson reposted it. Then Snoop Dogg reposted it. I got that Grenfell moment again. Remember I said my phone's going crazy? So imagine me coming to my phone. You know, like sometimes when you get like 2 or 3 notifications, you know something's wrong. Because like your phone's usually quiet for a bit. So I got like 50 notifications back to back. I was like, what's going on? I went to check if I posted anything, because I'm like, I know I haven't posted anything. Went on my Instagram. I was like, I ain't posted. Why am I seeing these notifications? Then I saw, you know, like when someone messages you, you can see some of their writing of what they wrote in the comments. Someone wrote, I think you've made it, bro. I'm like, what's this about? Then I see another one. Snoop Dogg just posted a video. I've gone on Snoop Dogg's page. I've checked the followers just to make sure it's Snoop Dogg. I've seen 25 million.
That's definitely him.
I was like, that's definitely Uncle Snoop. And then I saw in the video there and I was looking at it. I remember just looking at it. And I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Like, this is your calling.
I was like, this is mad. Like, everything I've been, as soon as I've made the decision to go on this path, everything I'm doing is just connecting. It's just going. Even the way that whole song came to play, I shot that song for 800 to £1,000. But I was meant to go to America with my friend on holiday. That's why I saved up the £1,000 to go with him. But then the director said to me, if you go to America, you're not going to be able to shoot with me when you come back because I'm busy. I've already got this window to shoot this video. So you can go to America or you can shoot this self-love song. And that's where I remembered the purpose. I said, you know what, America can wait. Because I never had nothing to do anyway. I was just going to go out there and try and network. I said, you know what, I told my friend, you know what, go do your thing. I'll come with you when I'm meant to. I have to shoot this video. And then I used the last money to shoot it. And I got signed off the back of it. I got a DM one day saying, yo, we want to sign your song. I thought it was bullshit. And then I saw the office. I saw everyone. They was introducing me to the staff. And I was like, all right, cool. This could be something. And then we signed like the weekend after that. And I saw the contract. And then my managers was there. And my friends was there. And I was like, yo, this is crazy the way it's just. And I've been working on an album. The album is beautiful. It's called Vulnerability is the New Cool. And it's like for men that struggle to open up about their mental health.
That's beautiful, because that's actually what all this is about. So I feel like everyone should check out that album.
It's a beautiful album. I'll send you some stuff and then you can listen to it. I'd love to get your feedback from a woman's perspective, because it's for men, but like, you know, women want to know how their man's doing, so they're going to listen in. But,
I'm scared to know about how I'm doing anyway.
But yeah, that's the album. And I feel like I want to make the soundtrack to the mental health movement that's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
I want to make the music to go behind it. Same way like when there's a protest, it was playing, like I saw them playing Tupac Changes. I don't know if did you see that clip that went viral where there was all protesting to Tupac Changes.
No, I actually didn't see
And
it.
I was like, okay, that's what that song was for. Do you know what I mean? That song was for stuff like this.
It has meaning.
It has meaning. It's for the soundtrack for stuff like this. And that's what I want this album to be. I want it to be like the soundtrack for the mental health movement. Same way Bob Marley made the soundtrack for like Rastafarians. When they're smoking their weed, they put Bob on. That's how I want it to be. Like a kid that's depressed or going through suicidal thoughts or anxiety. I want my album to be like the go-to album for him. Same like Lauryn Hill's Miseducation. Like every girl's heard that album.
I've definitely heard that.
You've heard that album?
Yeah.
You can't escape that album.
It's a Nothing Even Matters song for me.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what I want my album to be like, for like this movement. I want it to be like that album. So that's what I'm putting into the universe.
I feel like that's gonna work for you. I feel like when you put your mind to something and when something is your calling, you can't stop it. Like God has clearly, everything that's happened in your life, even all the struggle you've been through that you finally come out of, it was meant to happen. As much as it was tragic when it was happening, it was actually meant to happen. And I'm sure your album's gonna do extremely well. I'm sure you have amazing things that's gonna happen in the future. But honestly, Shocka, you've been an amazing guest. Like honestly, I'm sure anybody that's gonna watch this, I really hope you learn from Shocka's story and you know, you're more in touch with your emotions. But thank you so much.
Thank you, we finally did it.
Finally. So guys, watch out for our next episode. Thank you.